I heard about a study of people that went to buy ice cream and whether or not they were happy. The group that had lots of choices to pick from, say 31 maybe, they were less satisfied with their ice cream afterwards than the group who had only 3 or 4 flavors to pick from. And I was really surprised. I thought that choice meant more. I know when I go shopping, I think a whole room of a whole bunch of different styles of jeans or shirts or dresses is what I want to be able to pick from. But studies have shown time and time again that fewer choices lead to more happiness. I mean, think about it, right? Grocery shopping, line regret when you pick the wrong checkout line, or when you paint your living room, you're thinking about, oh, this chip or that chip or this chip or that chip. But if you have an interior designer who puts out a few different options for you after narrowing it down from your personality, it's much easier than the overwhelm of the entire wall of paint chips. This also makes sense when I think about it on a local level. My local coffee shop has 4 flavors to pick from for your lattes, not 50. And my favorite bakery has 3 muffins, vegan, blueberry. Oh, so good. Such a great muffin. So when you're thinking about this and you're teaching, what does that look like? My name is June from discoversuperiorjoy.com, and I'm here to share with you some ways that you can overcome stress and overcome decision fatigue in today's show. So speaking of paint chips, I got a new job, which came with a new classroom this summer. I walked in, you can head over to my social media if you'd like and go and see. When I walked in, it was ugly. I mean, it's bad. Old brown wall, temporary foldy walls. Whoever designed schools with the walls, the partitions that you can draw back and pull out, what were they thinking to put those into a school? I've got them on 2 sides, but bonus, my room is huge. It's just big tall ceilings. I have a big window. It's really fun. And I realized it was really ugly. At first I was thinking, nope, I got to keep it simple. I'm not going to do anything about it. And then I decided on Saturday morning, nope, can't do it. I cannot walk into a room that everyone, and myself included, thinks is ugly. I went to Sherwin-Williams at about 9 o'clock. I picked out a paint. I like white. I didn't want it to look gold or yellow, so I got a blue undertone paint and grabbed my husband and he gave him the paint roller and off we go. One day we painted the whole thing, primed the wood wall, and we got the whole thing painted all the way around. Then the next day I went in and I decorated, just added some posters, added some color, added some books, put in a couple lamps. In 2 days I transformed my classroom. I was talking to, other teachers, and some teachers, especially when we're new, we can spend a month making decisions about things. I realized that by making a decision quickly, luckily I listened to Joyce Meyer podcast earlier, just before actually going in and painting, and she had talked about how we can spend so much time in indecision, and decision overload kicks in, that we end up becoming, almost paralyzed. When in the end, it doesn't really matter. You got to go with your gut. When you're looking at these types of decisions, whether it's painting your classroom or even down to the little things like where to put the name line on the worksheet, right? Or how many little character dudes to add to the bottom of your Google Slides before you post them to Classroom. We have a lot of these little decisions to make, and I would like to encourage you for my first step today to think about how you can make decisions more quickly. Make them quickly and then just hold to it. Make it quickly and take all that imperfect action that you need to really get the job done. And get it done quickly, because saving time opens up space to really enjoy the other blessings that you have in your life. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is going to help you with decision fatigue and decision overwhelm as well, is getting rid of the clutter. Might be calling some of us out here, right? Stacks, lots of clutter, books that no child has touched in about 5 or 6 years. Even your storage closets, board games that are missing pieces. When you have a lot of stuff in your space, research shows that you can automatically begin to feel overwhelmed simply because there's so much stuff. You look at it and you think, I should do this. I should. And all of those should do's, and these are things I should decide, lead to mental fatigue, and they can lead to this decision overwhelm. So I'm encouraging you, if you're not really ready to get rid of everything, I'm a big fan of removing stuff. I learned early on in my parenting that less is more, because less gives you space, less gives you freedom, less gives you fun. And so now I've translated that into my teaching as well. So I'm going to encourage you to look through and decide, if it hasn't been used in years, but you think you might still want to hold it, put it in a bin and put it in your basement with a date label on it. And if you still haven't wanted anything in it after, 6 months or a year, then take it to your local donation center or put it in the recycle bin or the landfill. Right? Not everything not everything should go to the donation center. If you're really certain that you're done with it, throw it out, and that's okay too. So make decisions quickly, clear your clutter. And third, in order to help you make decisions and to help you get rid of the clutter when it comes to your teaching day, I'm going to urge you to stick to the tools you already know and utilize on a regular basis. And start eliminating the ones that are just some of your sometimes tools that you might want to use. Don't get lost in that world of looking at the next great thing. I could have been on Pinterest with my painting project. I could have been on Pinterest for a week before I bought paint. And I started to 5:30 a.m. There was coffee shop themed. I had so many different things I could pick from. But if you let yourself get into that search and the next and the new and the bright and shinies, here comes that decision overwhelm again. It can really be fatiguing. But if you stick to the tools that you have, the tools that you know, the teachers pay teachers that you already own, the textbook program that's available to you for the students to use, if you stick to the online platforms that you're familiar with, you don't need to dabble in another delivery system if you're already familiar with Google Classroom. You don't need to worry about another reading website if you have one that is already in place, that the students really love. If you start to see flaws in what you have, by all means, let go of it. Let go of the clutter and lean into the things that you know. But I'm really encouraging you to stick to the tools that you already know and love and wait for the big ones to come around so that when you do make a switch, you're excited about it. It's new. It's not overwhelming. And then that way you can have fun with new technology or new programs or new lesson plans because you have the mental space now to play in that world, right? Because it's fun to look at things that are new. But without that, the mental space, if you're constantly looking at new things and constantly making decisions, it'll be harder for you to enjoy it. So step back and give yourself the space to breathe and use what you already have and enjoy what you have. It makes your day so much more fun and just free to enjoy your time with the kids instead of worrying about the next new thing to find. And fourth, let's look at simplifying our day. Simplifying our day. So we started off with our ice cream decision making, right? When we look at this concept of multiple things to pick from, we want to try to simplify as much of our planning day as possible. So this is going to take on a lot of different forms. For me, my first step in simplifying the day was to figure out a grade scale that would work for every assignment. Nobody taught us how to grade anything in college. Did you have a college class on grading? Oh gosh, that would have been helpful, right? I remember in student teaching, the first thing that I had to teach from a literature standpoint was Romeo and Juliet, which is wonderful. I love my Romeo and Juliet. So we're going through, the kids had their parts, and then we get to the end, and the teacher and my supervising teacher says, all right, well, now we're going to put together a test because we need to assess how much they learned during the unit. I'm thinking, what? I thought we could just do the play and we'd be fine, right? I didn't know I had to figure out how to grade them on all of this because they learned a ton on Shakespearean theater. We learned so many fun things, and then I had to create an assessment. Then I had to grade it. Needless to say, they didn't do very well because I was a student teacher, and things I thought they had picked up along the way they hadn't, and I realized that my college education did not come with a grading class, with a how to make tests, how to make quizzes, how to make assignments, how to grade everything. But the world that we live in, that's what we have to follow. We still have to give grades. So I was early on in my teaching career, I was trying to figure out how to do all of this. And it was so overwhelming. And I wasn't even able to communicate with my students or with the parents that were reaching out what this all looks like. So I decided to use one of my grad classes. We were able to do a personal project, and I decided to figure out this grading stuff because it was taking me hours. I was up to like 8-9 hours a week grading my 7 different classes I was teaching at that time. So I got into there's not even very much research. I tried to find it. But what I did find, I was able to simplify into a 10-point scale that works on every single assignment, all the way from participation, attendance, games, reviews, assignments, essays, short answer responses, across the board. I was able to use this grade scale. Then I shared it out with all of my coworkers as well, and it's what we adopted as a school. I've done the work for you. The grade scale is available for you if you would like it. It's at www.discoversuperiorjoy.com/10point. That's 10point. Or you can go to my show notes if you'd like. And it's there for you to use. I've done all of the work for you. This scale works. You can trust me. So simplifying one of the most time-consuming parts of my job helped to eliminate this decision fatigue. How many points is this one going to be worth? How many, how is this going to be weighted in the grade book? What about this student versus this student? Well, this one wrote more, but this one wrote less, but this one's better, but this one's longer. This one took more time. We have all of these decisions that we make, even just student by student, assignment by assignment. So simplifying that process was really important to my overall happiness at the end of the day, because I can zoom through a stack of papers much more efficiently than I used to be able to, and it communicates much better with my students as well. So it works out really good. Also, once I had this grading scale, I realized now, okay, so I have a quick system where the kids are self-grading, and I have a quick system. Now I'm going to batch grade. So I'm going to batch plan. We've heard a lot about batch planning, where you plan your units in advance and you make adjustments day by day. The teacher's 40-hour teacher Workweek has some really great resources there if you're interested. And then batch grading takes on the same concepts. You have a stack, and now that the students have graded it, you have a quick subjective look at their accomplishments according to the standards that you set out for them to accomplish on their assignments, on their tests, on their essays, even on their games. So using these simplified methods eliminates decisions. I go from 48 flavors of ice cream down to 3, and I'm much happier at the end of the day because I'm not sorting, deciding, and shifting around. There's no more regret, no more remorse, because I know I like chocolate ice cream more than I like strawberry ice cream. But would I maybe like the one with the strawberry ice cream and the sprinkles and the marshmallows mixed in more than the one that has the chocolate and the marshmallow and the, oh my gosh, the list goes on. And so when you're always comparing your decisions, it wears you down, all the way from ice cream to grading. What if you want to hang decorations in your room? Okay, let's go to Michael's. To Michael's yesterday. Oh my goodness, the twinkly lights to pick from, it's an insane amount. Should I get the little stars that hang and twinkle? Or should I get the little unicorns? Look at the little unicorn lights. All of these decisions can just wear us down. But if you go with your gut, if you take, first of all, quick, decisive action early on, so you don't get muddled down and weighing too many of your options. You get rid of the clutter, so there's less things bogging you down at the end of the day. 3, you look at the tools that you already know, and you're going to utilize those tools before all else. You're going to hang out in that zone of familiarity, because that keeps you able to keep your mind open to other possibilities in your world. And if you simplify your processes down, especially your grading and your planning, you will have so many less decisions that you have to make in a day. Less decisions equals less overwhelm. Less overwhelm equals less regret, and less decision paralysis, where you just can't even make up your mind. There's too many twinkly lights. Can't even make up my mind. But if you go with your gut, decide quickly, clear out the mental clutter, narrow it down, use the tools that you have, simplify your process. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, unicorns win every single time. Thank you for your time today. If you're interested in that grade scale, it's on my website for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. All of my contact information will be provided in the show notes, and it's also on my website. Thank you for your time.